that's a bit too deep.
So did you get those roots? That was the one where we opened up the roots, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Put them suckers
All
in there.
right.
Getting
That's
dirty.
our manure, right?
I
Cool.
need some manure.
Woohoo! Let me show you, or let me see you open them up. All right, perfect. Just the way I taught you. Because that way we don't get what's called the root ball. Because since those roots have been trained to grow in that tiny square, we want to give them the option to point different ways. That's probably good enough right there. You did a good job.
These are great gardens.
That way they're a little bit more free to grow.
Oh, I'm trying not to step in
Because
the
we
garden.
want our plants to be relaxed, right? Just like we like to sit on a lazy boy. I don't want to sit on a hard chair if I can sit on a couch. So these are always nice ways to feel like the plant's getting in the couch. And you just give it a nice little touch. Let them know you love them. He's a happy pepper, isn't
You
he?
gonna pull some weeds today, my lovies?
How tall do
What?
the peppers get?
When are you gonna let
Are
them
these
spiders?
habanero? Are these jalapeno or bell peppers?
They are yellow
They're
mini bells.
These guys, mini
These are
bells,
the
okay, they'll
staggers.
probably get about that tall.
Okay.
Normal bell pepper could get about this tall. But since it's a mini, a little dwarf,
Right on, girl. Oh.
which is perfect
Which
for this
one?
garden, is growing
Right here.
miniatures. Did you got your manure in there already?
Did we put manure in that one?
No, wait just a second, pal. Let me show you a trick. Now, open up these roots just a little bit.
Not
That
so
way-
much.
That way, they're trained to go in different directions. See how before they were kind of rooted up?
Yeah.
If we let them keep spinning around in a ball like that, the plant will get big and want to fall over. Instead, we're making it to where he gets relaxed.
Compact it in just a tiny bit.
Yeah, that way he's thinking about growing peppers instead of growing stalk strength.
What's on the end?
So basically,
cool, huh?
spicier ones.
Yeah, tasty.
What's on the
Might
end?
even be sweeter.
Red mini.
All right.
We got labels for the orange ones, so let's start with the orange one.
Beautiful. Feel the love in that plant. That's great. Then I always take an eye up on top too, like you are, and just make sure it plants straight and growing up. Because sometimes when I do it from the side, I'll plant them in diagonally.
Yep.
So do what you did and kind of take a peek right over the top. Make sure it's nice and straight. Good job.
Stay right here.
And I'm gonna get one.
Enough space for that one to go in this one.
And you got all these labeled correctly?
These are all yellows.
Oh,
And these
perfect,
ones are
perfect.
orange.
Because that's the
I don't
main
know what
reason when
happened
we
to the
farm,
red,
we have
so
to
we're
know
just gonna-
when we planted. We write down the times. It's good to even write down like what the weather's been like lately. If we've got a lot of rain on the soil.
I never thought of that.
Oh yeah, because then when you're looking back and then you have a better year than you did on another year, you might be able to go back through your notes and say, well, the reason why is because we had a good 10-inch rain before we planted, and the soil was just nice and good and saturated. So if you don't take good notes as a scientist, it's farming is science. You know, it really truly is. And if you don't take good notes, then you're really not a good scientist because you have to match your data. You have to have your controls. It's a pretty good
Deeper
trick
you,
to learn.
the deeper you put them, the more they'll sink, right?
Yep.
But if you put them too deep, they won't.
Yeah, you don't want to suffocate them. Peppers are pretty easy as far as if you put them too deep, they'll usually do okay. But it's a good habit to get in just with planting plants in general. Not to go too deep.
Easy way like this.
But it's always better to go a little deep than go too shallow. Got our
Move it a
manure on
little
there.
Recording?
And you're breaking up the roots? Awesome, you did such a good job. What's your name?
Carrie.
Carrie, awesome, you did a good job.
She really carries plants.
Yeah, she does. Be your Indian
What?
name,
I'm a
Carrie
pun
Carrie
master.
Plant.
Go ahead.
Nice.
Or do you want me to put it in?
Some lovely pepper.
Go ahead.
You guys are doing awesome.
This is hard.
You're gonna have such an awesome garden. You better hope I don't sneak in here at night and take all your peppers for you get here in the morning.
No, or if not, you're not invited.
We just can't take our
Now
stuff.
make sure you eye it right
Unless he
straight up.
asks.
Now see it straight up, and then you can see it needs tilted just a little bit more that way.
And
That
then
way the plant
compact
doesn't
it a
grow with
little bit
stress
more right
leaning.
there.
Perfect.
Put a big compact over there so that it doesn't think of going there.
Because if you think about it, if you grow that plant in at a side, then it's got the pressure going back up, the gravitational force. And it's just less focus that it's got on its nutrients. That's why corn isn't very good for growing fuel, as it's thinking about its feet, its stalk strength, and it's thinking about not tipping over, and it's thinking about leaves, and it's thinking about tasseling and making fruit. Corn's good for eating, and that's about it. It's not good for fuel. That's when stuff like duckweed comes in handy. It's got 5 times more alcohol than sugar, 10 times more vegetable oil than soybeans, and a lot of protein.
That pineapple,
Look at that.
got to go someplace?
Perfect.
Oh, thank you, Elzar.
Give those little guys some water. How do you like the garden club? I wish we would have had this when I was a kid.
Right.
We had the ag club, more like large scale farming in high school.
Right.
But we didn't have a garden club. And
When they have
Neat.
new teacher orientation here for new teachers, principals always tell the new teachers, do not go in that room. That is Miss Phillips in the student's garden. And she will know if you remove one little tomato from it.
Oh yeah. Be on you like a hawk on a mud swallow.
Just don't do it.
No. This way.
Good job on breaking those roots up, buddy. See, you're learning even when I'm not looking. You're doing the right thing. That's what matters.
No, I already put some in here.
All right, let's see how well we do with those.
What do you got in your hand there?
Compost.
Is that manure? You got poop on your hands? There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Even if you're not too.
Oh yeah, I love playing with poop.
Yeah.
Makes the best fertilizer.
Did you get all the
nasty.
yellows?
That's what that is.
It's poop!
Yeah, that's poop.
We can start with the red.
Clean your hands.
Don't worry.
No, where does this? It looks like dirt. Where did it come from? The others Exactly. are still
Comes
It
from a
looks
cow.
like dirt. Where did we stop with the orange? We stopped with the orange right there, right?
So start your red right here. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I think we stopped here.
Uh-oh, you're doing a good job getting that marked, aren't you?
Okay.
Perfect. Here, I'll get
These
you a
are
hand.
all red.
There you go.
And so we'll start at the top of the row with more red.
That's a piece of bark.
Great job, buddy.
Don't step on the raised beds.
Oh, no one put manure in this one.
Manure? What's that? You mean poop?
There we go.
It's not just tasty, but it's
Did
good
you
for you
manure in
too.
there?
Yeah, we did. No one
Hey.
had put it in there at first.
Oh, look how happy that looks.
We are in the red.
This
now.
one, nobody. No one put manure in any of these.
So there's
Yep,
one.
we want to make sure we break up the roots a little better. Yeah. See, when we break those roots up a little bit, then it doesn't want to grow in a ball. Now plant it. Because if it grows in a ball, when the plant gets bigger, it'll want to fall over when it gets its fruit. Because it doesn't have a good root structure. This is the most precious time to grow a plant right here, is from seedling to this stage.
What? Yep.
That's
These
where
are
all the
all
work
reds.
comes in. What she's doing right here, that's a good farmer. Perfect, Carrie. Good job.
Thank you. Oh,
Very
that one's
well.
really high. Maybe we
Yeah,
should.
it's going to be a good one, huh? Sometimes I find that the really tall peppers doesn't mean that it's going to produce the most. Sometimes they just